Hey everybody, it's Emma, and today I wanted to do a first impression wear test sort of thing on the two face primers from The Ordinary. Now, if you haven't seen any of my previous videos or have just missed the ones where I've talked about The Ordinary, I already have in my collection the Serum Foundation and 3 items of the skincare, which I will be talking about in a separate video. I put in another order for the primers because I wanted to try them, and I also got the Coverage Foundation, but I'm going to be talking about that in a separate video. I wanted to try these primers. A, they're super inexpensive, and B, I've heard that the Ordinary foundations work best with the Ordinary primer, so I wanted to kind of test that theory out as well. So just so you're aware, this is a first impressions. If that's not your thing, that's totally cool. I get it. You know, I can be kind of iffy on them too, but I just, I thought this would be a fun thing to do. I'm going to do it anyway, so might as well film it, right? So the first primer I want to talk about is the High Adherence Silicone Primer. So it says Blurring Surface Smoother and Primer. So this costs $4.90. On the website, they say this formula uses advanced adaptive silicones to act as a matte, hydrating, blurring primer for makeup that looks higher in definition and adheres for longer. The formula can also be used alone as a non-greasy hydrator that reduces the look of pores and imperfections. So it comes in this little tube. You get 1 fluid ounce. It doesn't say anything about specifically how to apply this. It just says used as a last step in your skincare regime, either on its own or as a makeup primer. There might be the slightest sort of scent. It's a very, I don't want to say thick because I don't know if it's actually thick feeling on the skin, but it's, it's not drippy. If that makes sense. So I'm going to put it on the, where am I? Oh, it is actually quite thick. Interesting. I'm going to put this on the left side of my face. That was a little too much, so I'm going to bring that down my neck. Probably not a bad idea. Anyway, that's interesting. I definitely didn't expect it to be as, it does feel quite lotiony and nice, actually. It doesn't feel very heavy. Texture is definitely different than I anticipated, but hey. Here we go. All right. So that is the silicone primer. The next primer, the second primer that they have in the Ordinary's range, they only have these 2, but I think it's kind of all you need. All right, there we go. This is the High Spreadability Fluid Primer. This one's a little bit more expensive at $7.90. You do also get 1 fluid ounce. This one comes in this kind of dropper style bottle. And on the website, they say this new generation of primer is a lightweight serum-like formula that increases the spreadability of subsequent complexion makeup to help avoid the unnatural and uneven accumulation of pigments, especially around the eyes and on dry skin. The formula also acts as a light, non-oily surface hydrator for a natural dewy look. So both of these could be used as a moisturizer on its own if you wanted to. Let's see. This one's quite a bit runnier. Has a little bit of a smell. That smells familiar, but oh, you know what it smells like? It smells like the pore filler primer from NYX. So I'm going to put this on the other side of my face. It actually feels a little bit more slippy. Neither of them feel very heavy. I probably should have mentioned this in the beginning, but in case you are new to my channel, new to my videos, I have oily skin, especially right now in the summer. I'm filming this in August, and my skin definitely has been quite, evenly oily, if that makes sense. I tend to go a little more combo in the winter, but my skin is oily. I have sensitive skin. It's prone to breakouts. I've been pretty lucky in my skin recently, perhaps due to the Ordinary skincare. I don't know. I'll talk about that in another video. But just so you know, that's kind of what I'm working with. I tend to find that foundations don't last very well on my skin, especially on my nose. My nose just seems to repel foundation. So if either of these help to adhere foundation to my skin, that'd be great. Now, like I said in the very beginning of this video, I have also purchased the coverage foundation, but I thought I would do this wear test with the serum foundation because I've used this I've used this a lot. I know how it acts on my skin, and I think that would be a better kind of first impression sort of way to go. So I have the serum foundation in the shade 1.1N, which is fair neutral. Shaking it up. This is weird. I almost always do eyes and stuff before I do my skin. So gotta not do anything too sparkly on my face today. So I just squirted out a pump. It's very runny, as you can see. So let's actually start it over here because this has been kind of setting on my skin a little bit longer. So I tend to just kind of dab this around. Now, one thing I've noticed about this foundation, I do like it. It's a nice foundation, especially for, the $7 price tag. But one thing I've noticed recently is that it's gotten a little bit separate-y, because that's a word, right? I'm just going to spread this in with fingers. I've noticed that the product has gotten a little bit textured, maybe, if that's, well, Sharon Farrell did a video recently on the Tarte stick foundations, and she was not impressed with them. Spoiler alert. And they did this thing, and she described it as, the foundation kind of curdling. And I've noticed that has been happening with this serum foundation recently, when I use it without any primers, which I usually do. It's gotten a little bit kind of separate-y and textured, even if I shake it up. And I'm noticing right now that it's not doing that on this side of my face, which was the high spreadability. It's smoothing on really, really nicely, actually. Which it did initially. I was really impressed with the foundation. I mean, it was, I've done a wear test of the serum foundation, which I'll link. I've been wanting to do a full-length review on it, but I wanted to try it with these primers first. Seems to be spreading out just as nicely. The High Adherence primer. It's definitely spreading out a lot nicer than it has been on its own. Right, I'm gonna move you with my hand. I have hurt my back, which is great since I teach yoga and Zumba for a living. I can barely walk, but there we go. PT is coming. Anyway, so I mean, it's blended in certainly nicer than it has ever. I mean, when I first got this foundation, it blended in really nicely. And you can watch that wear test video that I did on it. I didn't notice any texture issues when I first got it. That started to happen maybe, I don't know, a month in. But it looks really, really nice over top of these. So it is 10:43 right now. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup. I'm probably going to film a couple more videos, and I will check in with you throughout the day to see how this is going. Let's set this. I'm going to use the NYX No Filter Powder. I always set my foundation. I have oily skin. It's just what I do. This is an e.l.f. complexion brush. All right, so that is the face on. I'm really pleased with how the foundation has initially applied, actually. It's really smoothed out what was becoming a not so pleasantly textured foundation. It didn't feel grainy or anything, but it looked grainy. Grainy is probably a good word for it. maybe know what I mean. So there we go, and I will check back in later on in the day. We'll see how everything's going, and I'll see you then. Hey everybody, I am checking in. We're at the 3.5 hour mark. It's 3:17 now. My foundation has been on since 10:43. If I messed up that math, I'll just cut that out so I don't seem as stupid. Anyway, I'm definitely, I'm a little shiny. Kind of equally shiny on my forehead on both sides, if I'm honest. Maybe if I'm being picky, probably a little shinier on the high spreadability, so the more kind of dewy primer. I'm definitely shinier on that side of my face, just generally, like my cheek. The makeup itself is still looking really good. The nose, of course, has worn away a little bit. I've had to blow my nose a bunch today for some reason, and there's no makeup left here, but I mean, been actively blowing my nose, so the rest of my nose still has makeup on it though. And again, it's definitely a lot shinier on the spreadability. So the high spreadability again is on this side, and the high adherence is on this side. The makeup still looks really good. I did notice that it took the makeup looked just a little bit powdery, more powdery on the dewy side actually, which I found interesting. And now it's really melded into my skin, and I'm quite shiny. I haven't touched anything up. I haven't repowdered or anything. I tend not to do that anyway, unless things are really, really not in a good place. I mean, so far in my mind, the primers are already a win just for how nicely they made the makeup go on my skin initially. And, you know, this is pretty typical. I think it's probably lasted a little bit better on my nose, except for those, blowing the nose places. Nostrils, that's what they're called, except for my nostrils. So let's see if I can zoom you in here a little bit. Hey folks, how's it going? So you can see it's almost all gone from my nostrils, and maybe you can tell that it's kind of broken down a little bit more on that side than on this side. I don't know if that's showing up. Don't you hate that when YouTubers say that? And yet I do all the time. And obviously you can see it's really shiny, but nothing is broken down. Like the makeup is still where it's supposed to be. So I think I am going to powder just a little bit on my forehead using the same no filter powder from NYX. Same brush, same stuff, just to take that down a little. So that's toned down a little bit. Looks pretty good, I must say. I'm really happy with this situation so far, and I'll check in a little later, see how it's going. Okay, sorry for horrendous bathroom lighting, but it's the best I got because it's dark now, because summer's leaving. This foundation has been on for 9.5 hours, and I definitely feel like the primers helped. Now I am pretty freaking shiny. I had touched up, as you saw in the kind of halfway point check-in, but the foundation has actually stayed on my face. There's even foundation on my nose. It's, it's still rubbed up off of my nostrils, obviously, which it had been already. There's, some movement from my glasses. Not so much on this side though. This was the high adherence primer, the kind of blurring one, and then this was the more kind of dewy high spreadability primer. They performed pretty similar, honestly. This side definitely got shinier quicker, but this side definitely also got shiny. The makeup looks pretty similar, and the nose is the only real difference, but it's stayed on. Like there's still, and I don't even know if you can see because I'm using my shitty selfie camera and I'm in shitty light, but it's still on my face, I think they definitely helped the longevity of my makeup, and it definitely helped the makeup to look better going on. Like the texture of it was definitely helped by these primers. Like I said at the beginning, this is a first impression sort of wear test, so I will definitely continue testing them out. I am going to do a full review, but it probably won't be for a little while because I want to really fully test it out. But so far, so good. And I would say if you got one of the Ordinary foundations, granted I haven't tried the Coverage foundation at all yet, but if you got at least the serum, in my experience, and the texture's off, maybe it's a little bit grainy, the primers, they fix that. So I mean, at this point, after wearing them once on half of my face, I would say go with the high adherence, only because it's a few dollars cheaper, but they are so inexpensive. You could, if you wanted to, get both and see which one you like better. You might like one in winter and one in summer, blah, blah, blah. So I definitely like them, and I will continue to test them out. I will let you know. The rest of my makeup still looks, I mean, as good as it can in this light with this camera. So I'm going to peace out. My back is about to seize up. I just taught the second class of the day, and if I haven't complained about this already, which I'm sure I have, but I injured myself, so my low back is on fire right now. So I'm gonna go home, wash my face, and lay down on the couch. If you have any Netflix, Amazon, PBS recommendations, let me know. And thank you for watching, and I hope you're having a great day, week, month, year, life, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.